So tonight, while I was just randomly killing time on my Facebook, I happened to talk to a friend of mine who was referencing one of the posts about how I had to be at the ER earlier for somebody who was running a fever, and specifically the flu, as well as influenza or pneumonia in general, has been a huge problem, and it's actually been killing some what we would consider healthy average people. And I also pointed out that using apple cider vinegar as a drink to help detox or at least clear out bacteria could be a potential benefit or remedy, including with whatever your primary care provider recommends. I don't always necessarily trust medical practitioners, but the first and foremost thing that I have to stress is to always go with what they say first, because I would hope that they have more training than anybody like me, or for whatever reason. That being said, I did reference, a couple little images that have, lists of health benefits of apple cider vinegar. And I remember when I initially was looking into using it as a detox remedy, not a detox remedy, but just for health in general, for specifically irritable bowel syndrome and stomach issues. Acid reflux, I think, is initially what I was looking into it for. That I made sure to cover the whole what happens to your enamel and your teeth and what it does to your insides per se, because everybody always asks me, how are you so practical about some of your astrology recommendations or advice? And I say, I just keep it really simple. The Santos Bonacci guy that does the astrotheology kind of lectures on YouTube, I'm inspired a lot by him. I like to follow the whole as above, so below thing. And that sounds very vague and philosophical and really stupid in a way. But just think of it this way. As above, so below. People, their bodies are just like engines. For example, like motor vehicles, other kinds of machinery. Or, for example, plumbing. Is the basic concept, silly and stupid as it sounds, is plumbing. We all have our own plumbing as well. If you sit there and you pour baking soda and you pour vinegar down into your drain, do you see what it does when it starts to fizz and eat away at things? Do you understand why apple cider vinegar helps with intestines and breaking down bacteria? Because it's eating it away. You know the painfulness that you have from heartburn or acid reflux from your own stomach acids being out of whack, and how painful and burning that is. And then even if you're like my boyfriend and decide to take swigs or shot glasses of actual apple cider vinegar instead of mixing it into a drink or diluting it, how much it burns. Put some vinegar in your eye and tell me how that feels. So think about that, where you're putting that. So that being said, one of the things that I saw as a benefit is for you to use it as a mouth rinse. But one of the main warnings that I did research and see multiple times throughout different searches is that it eats the enamel off your teeth. So please double check your sources, and I don't even take offense if anybody questions, are you sure that's right? Or if somebody, wants to double check with their doctor or with other sources to see if what I'm suggesting works, please, I encourage you to double check your sources. Every once in a while, I can even be wrong. So I'm not saying that I'm rarely wrong, but I'm just saying, just use your common sense. I remember back when I was a teenager, all my friends started going on birth control. I was suggested by my primary care provider to go on birth control. I was completely against it. I had an irregular cycle that kind of, is a difficult and pain in the ass to handle. And I still choose to just deal with it instead, because I was just I didn't understand anything like that, but I was just well, that just doesn't make any sense, because if a woman's body is supposed to flush out all that blood each month, if you do take something to stop the blood from flushing out, where does the blood go? Are you saying that the entire process is completely halted? Or is the blood being plugged up somewhere? And it's basically going to cause other issues. It's like with plumbing. If there's a clog all the way down into the pipe, you won't see any symptoms on the surface right away, but it'll have catastrophic effects if you leave it that way. That kind of thing. as above, so below. Just try to simplify a scenario down in the most basic terms, in some very vague, similar fashion. And just use common sense. Does that make sense? No. Would you put antifreeze, or would you put, acid of some kind in your mouth and swish it around to, brighten and whiten your smile? No, you fucking wouldn't. So why would you put unfiltered vinegar, like apple cider vinegar specifically, in your mouth, and it not have any kind of repercussions to the enamel or to the density or strength of your teeth? Just think twice, guys. People always ask me, how come you can be so practical with astrology and other people can't, or everybody's, that guru stuff. I'm like, I don't know, you'll have to go ask them. But I like to live in reality for the most part, and that's where I try to implement my astrology practice, or I guess my astrology sense in a way. I try to keep it down to earth, even when I'm referencing as above, so below.